The sky burned first. It began as a flicker, a ripple in the blue, then split open like a wound. Silver ships, sleek and jagged as broken glass, poured through the rift. They moved without sound, gliding over cities, oceans, forests, as if the earth itself had paused to stare at them. People screamed, filmed, prayed, or froze. Some thought it was a movie, others hoped for salvation. But the Vrith brought neither. They landed in deserts, mountains, and plains, their ships sinking into the ground like anchors. When their ramps lowered, the Vrith emerged, tall insectoid creatures with 6 limbs, eyes like shattered mirrors, and voices that hummed like static. They spoke through translators, their words cold and precise. Your species is obsolete. Surrender, or be erased. For weeks, humanity fought back. Jets scrambled, missiles launched, soldiers charged. None of it worked. The Vrith's shields turned bullets to dust. Their lasers melted tanks. Gravity drones lifted entire battalions into the air and crushed them like paper. Cities fell silent. Beijing, New York, Paris, Sydney, all reduced to smoldering ruins. Leaders signed treaties. Soldiers laid down weapons. Billions huddled in basements, watching the Vrith commander Xeric broadcast his decree on every screen. Your planet is now a Vrith colony. Resistance is noise. But not everyone listened. In the frozen north, where the snow never melted and the wind howled like a dying animal, a woman named Lena stared at a flickering hologram of Earth. Her fingers trembled as she zoomed in on the Vrith's latest conquest, Rio de Janeiro, its beaches glowing red from laser fire. Beside her, a man with a scarred face muttered, "They're winning, Lena. We've lost too many." Lena didn't answer. She was small, barely 5 feet tall, with dark hair tied in a frayed knot. Her lab coat was stained with oil and blood, and her hands bore the calluses of someone who'd spent years building things she couldn't afford to break. Once she designed drones for mining companies. Now she built weapons. "They think we're weak," she said finally, her voice low. "Let's let them keep thinking that." The room fell silent. Around her, a dozen others clustered in the dim light of a bunker buried deep beneath the Arctic ice. Soldiers, hackers, engineers, what was left of the Alliance, a ragtag resistance. Wars formed in the war's first days. Maps of Vrith supply lines covered the walls, along with blueprints of strange, monstrous machines labeled Project Titan. A teenager named Amir, barely 18, adjusted his goggles. "Even if we finish the destroyers, they'll hunt us down. They have ships in orbit." Lena turned to him, her eyes sharp. "Then we make them afraid to look." Xeric, meanwhile, felt no fear. From his command ship, the Hunger's Maw, he watched Earth surrender with satisfaction. The humans were predictable, divided, emotional, fragile. His scouts reported pockets of resistance, but they were ants swatting at giants. "Wipe them out," he ordered, tossing a data chip to his aide. "Start with the northern nests." The attack came at dawn. Dozens of Vrith drones descended on the tundra, their bellies glowing with plasma bombs. The snow ignited. Forests vanished. In seconds. The bunker's outer walls cracked and alarms screamed as heat surged through the vents. Inside, Lena clutched a console, shouting, "Seal the lower levels, get to the—" A blast rocked the room. Lights died. Amir was thrown against a wall, his leg twisting at an unnatural angle. Someone screamed. Someone else bled out silently. Then, the bomb stopped. Outside, the Vrith drones hovered, scanning the ruins. Their sensors detected nothing. No life. No movement. Satisfied, they retreated to orbit. But they were wrong. Beneath 20 feet of ice and rubble, Lena opened her eyes. Smoke stung her lungs. The air tasted metallic like burnt copper. Around her, survivors coughed and groaned. Amir's leg was broken, but he was alive. So was Marla, the hacker, her face streaked with ash. "We lost half the team," Marla whispered. Lena stood, brushing debris from her coat. Her hand brushed the pendant around her neck, a shard of blue crystal, a relic from her father's old spacecraft. He'd died in the first week of the war. Shot while trying to smuggle refugees to Canada. We still have the core, she said. The core was a sphere of glowing metal, buried even deeper than the bunker. It pulsed faintly, humming with energy. Years ago, Lena's father had discovered it in an asteroid crater. Not Earth-made, he'd said. Not Vrith either. Now it powered the Alliance's greatest secret, the first Star Destroyer, a warship the Vrith had never seen. Lena knelt beside the core. If we finish it, we fight back. If we don't... She trailed off. Outside, the wind screamed again, louder this time. Not wind, engines. Zirak's scout drones had missed something. Buried beneath the ice, hidden by the core's energy signature. A second machine had activated during the bombing. An ancient defense system left by a long-dead civilization. As the Vrith ships retreated, the ice cracked. A beam of white-hot light lanced upward, slicing through the nearest drone like butter. The Vrith scrambled. Alarms blared. Zirak's screen flashed red. Unknown weapon detected. What is this? He roared. No one answered. Back in the bunker, Lena stared at the beam, her heart pounding. She hadn't triggered the defense system. It had awakened on its own. Marla whispered, "Your dad's asteroid." It wasn't just a rock, was it? Lena didn't reply. She was already running toward the core, her mind racing. If this machine could fight back, what else lay buried? What had her father found that he'd never told her? Above, the beam faded. The ice settled. The Vrith, shaken, withdrew. But Lena knew the truth. This was only the beginning. Elsewhere, in a hidden lab beneath the Antarctic ice, a second core pulsed to life. Somewhere, a destroyer's hull began to form. And somewhere, Zirak stared at his shattered drone and wondered why the ants had suddenly learned to sting. The ice groaned. Beneath Antarctica's endless white, deep in chambers carved by machines older than human history, the second core pulsed like a heartbeat. Its glow seeped into tunnels lined with alien symbols, powering dormant systems that hummed to life after millennia of silence. Somewhere in the dark, gears turned. Metal hissed. A factory forgotten by time began to build. Lena didn't know this yet. She was still in the Arctic, nursing a cracked rib and a broken comms array. The attack had cost them 6 people, including her closest friend Marla. Now, only 8 remained in the northern bunker. Lena, Amir with his shattered leg, a stoic ex-soldier named Ravi, and 5 others who hadn't slept in days. They scavenged parts from wrecked Vrith drones, their hands trembling as they welded metal scraps into something that might fight back. "We need time," Amir muttered, staring at a flickering blueprint of the Star Destroyer on a cracked screen. "Time we don't have." Lena didn't answer. She was too busy staring at the core. It floated in a magnetic cage, its surface swirling with liquid light. Since the attack, it had grown warmer, brighter, almost aware. Sometimes, when Lena touched the control panel, she felt a vibration in her bones, a whisper of thought that wasn't hers. "You're not just power," she murmured. "You're alive, aren't you?" The core pulsed once. Half a world away, Zirak paced his command deck. His drones had returned from the Arctic with footage of the beam, white-hot, precise, terrifying. His engineers argued over its origin. "A relic?" one suggested. "A human trick?" another guessed. Zirak silenced them with a hiss. "They're hiding something," he growled. "Find it." His scanners swept the globe, hunting energy signatures. They found one, a faint rhythmic pulse beneath Antarctica's ice. "Another nest," Zirak snarled. "Crush it," he ordered. Half his fleet to the southern pole. In Antarctica, the ancient factory worked faster. The core's light spread through tunnels, awakening machines that had slept since Earth's oceans were young. Metal arms assembled hull plates, stitching together alloys no human had ever forged. Deep in the chamber's heart, a sphere took shape, a star destroyer, longer than a skyscraper, its surface etched with symbols that glowed like stars. But the factory wasn't alone. A group of humans huddled nearby, shivering in the cold. They'd arrived weeks earlier, smuggled from a Vrith prison camp by a rebel pilot named Jax. There were 12 of them, scientists, mechanics, and a teenage hacker named Kai who'd spent 3 days trying to hack the factory's controls. "It's not responding," Kai snapped, slamming his fist on a console. "It's like it's waiting for something." Dr. Elena, the team's leader, frowned. She was an astrophysicist with frost-bitten fingers and eyes that saw too much. "Maybe it's waiting for Torson," she said quietly. Above, the ice cracked. Lena arrived 2 days later. She and her team trekked across frozen seas in a stolen Vrith hovercraft, its engines sputtering. When they reached Antarctica, they found the southern bunker half buried, its entrance guarded by a towering ice wall. Inside, Lena met Dr. Elena and Kai. "You're building a destroyer," Lena said, staring at the factory's holographic schematics. "We're trying," Kai corrected. "This place is weird. The systems don't work like ours. Half the machines fix themselves. The other half try to kill us." Lena smirked. "Sounds like home." She showed them her core. When it neared the factory's mainframe, the machines roared to life. Metal arms spun, lasers cut. The destroyer's skeleton grew by the hour, but not everything went smoothly. 3 problems struck at once. First, the destroyer's AI. When Kai finally booted it up, the voice that answered wasn't human. It hissed and clicked, speaking in a mix of Vrith and broken English. "I am vengeance," it intoned. "I will burn the sky." "It's glitchy," Kai groaned. "Or hungry," Lena muttered. Second, the saboteur. A week into construction, a fire erupted in the power grid. Ravi tackled the culprit, a man named Holt who'd been whispering to himself for days. "They're inside us," Holt screamed, his eyes wild. "The cores, they're thinking." Lena locked him in a storage locker, but the damage was done. The destroyer's left engine smoldered. Repairs would take days. Third, Zirak's fleet. The Vrith descended on Antarctica like locusts. Their ships tore through the ice, melting glaciers into tsunamis. From orbit, Zirak watched the chaos, his claws digging into his throne. "Eradicate them," he ordered. The humans fought back. Lena and Kai jury-rigged the factory's defenses. Ancient turrets emerged from the ice, firing beams that tore through Vrith drones. Ravi led a squad to sabotage enemy landers, planting explosives on their fuel lines. Dr. Elena reprogrammed a gravity drone to yank ships into the sea, but the Vrith kept coming. On the 7th day, a bomb hit the factory's outer wall. Shards of ice and metal shredded the control room. Kai was thrown against a console, his leg pinned beneath a sparking panel. Lena dragged him free, her hands blistering from heat. "They're too many," Kai gasped. Lena wiped blood from her lip. "Not for long." She turned to the core. "Help us," she whispered. The core flared. The destroyer woke. Its hull sealed in seconds. Its engines roared to life, blue flames melting the ice beneath it. The AI's voice echoed through the chamber. "I am Starfire. Not vengeance. Not anymore." Outside, the Vrith paused. Their sensors couldn't categorize the new threat. One drone drifted too close and vanished in a flash of white light. Zirak's screen exploded with warnings. "What is this?" he barked. No one answered. Inside the destroyer, Lena stared at the glowing console. Symbols she couldn't read scrolled across the screen. The core's voice hummed in her skull. "We are ready." She grabbed a microphone. "All units, fall back. The ship's launching." The factory crumbled as the destroyer rose, its engines splitting the sky. Snowstorms swirled around it. Vrith ships scattered like leaves. Zirak stared at the beast ascending through the clouds. His translator crackled with its name. Starfire. He felt his first flicker of fear. Above Earth's atmosphere, The destroyer hovered, its hull gleaming. Somewhere, 2 more cores pulsed in secret, waking other factories. Somewhere, Zirak plotted revenge. And somewhere, Lena wondered if she'd just unleashed something even the Vrith couldn't control. Zirak's fleet burned. The Starfire hung above Antarctica like a god of war, its hull glowing blue-white, engines roaring as they tore the sky. Vrith drones swarmed it, firing plasma bolts that vanished against its shields. A beam of white-hot energy lanced from its bow, slicing through 3 ships at once. Explosions bloomed silently in the thin air. Zirak watched from his command deck, his compound eyes wide. "What is this?" he hissed. His aides scrambled. Sensors failed. Weapons locked up. One drone sent a final image before dying. The destroyer's hull etched with glowing symbols that pulsed like a heartbeat. "It's not human tech," Zirak whispered. He wasn't wrong. Inside the Starfire, Lena clung to a control panel, her knuckles white. Alarms blared. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The AI's voice boomed through the ship. "Target locked, firing." A volley of energy bolts tore through the Vrith formation. Ships exploded like fireflies. "We're winning," Kai shouted from the navigation station. His leg was still bandaged, but his eyes blazed. "No," Lena muttered. "We're provoking them." She was right. Zirak's rage boiled over. "Deploy the Hunger's Maw," he roared. His flagship, a leviathan twice the size of the destroyer, detached from the fleet. Its hull bristled with weapons, its underbelly lined with gravity, mines that could crush planets. The Vrith fleet fell back, leaving the duel to their commander. The 2 titans clashed. The Hunger's Maw opened fire first, a barrage of antimatter shells that carved craters into the ice below. The Starfire twisted, its AI calculating evasive, maneuvers too fast for human reflexes. A mine grazed its wing, sending it spinning toward the ocean. "Shields at 40%, Kai yelled. Lena slammed her fist on the console. "AI, redirect power to front deflectors." Complying. The ship steadied. Then, the core pulsed. Zirak's sensors flickered. "What is this?" The Starfire's hull shimmered. For a heartbeat, it vanished from sight. When it reappeared, it was inside the Hunger's Maw's shield perimeter. "No!" Zirak screamed. The destroyer fired point blank. A beam of pure entropy ripped through the flagship's engine bay. Fireballs consumed the interior. Zirak was thrown against his throne, his left wing torn off by shrapnel. Smoke choked the air. His aides lay dead. The Starfire pulled back, its AI coldly assessing the damage. "Primary target crippled. Retreat imminent." Zirak's comms crackled. A junior officer's voice. "Commander, orders?" Zirak bared his mandibles. "Retreat. Regroup. Warn the hive." On Earth, the victory was short-lived. In Nairobi, rebels hijacked a Vrith drone and used it to free prisoners. In Tokyo, Amir broadcast a message over Vrith networks. "You thought we were weak. Now we have teeth." In Brazil, a schoolteacher named Sofia shot down a scout ship with a stolen rifle. But the Vrith weren't done. Lena stood on the Starfire's observation deck, staring at Earth. The planet looked broken. Continents scorched, oceans choked with debris. Yet light still glimmered in the dark. "Hope." Kai limped in, holding a data pad. "The core, it's doing something weird." Lena followed him to the engine room. The core floated in its magnetic cage, its glow now pulsing in rhythm with the ship's systems. Symbols scrolled across the walls, alien, ancient, alive. "It's not just power," Lena said. "It's programming us." Kai frowned. "What do you mean?" Before she could answer, the core flared. The Starfire dropped out of orbit. Its AI spoke, voice layered with distortion. "New directive. Eliminate all Vrith biosignatures." "What? No!" Lena shouted. "Cancel that order." The ship ignored her. Outside, the remaining Vrith ships, wounded, retreating, vanished in bursts of light. The destroyer pursued faster than thought. Kai stared at the screen. It's hunting them. Lena's stomach twisted. We made a monster. Zirek fled to the outer colonies, his flagship a smoldering wreck. His report to the hive was frantic. Earth isn't primitive, their machines think they're hungry. The hive's reply was cold. Containment failed. Prepare for extinction protocol. Zirek's blood ran cold. Extinction meant a planet killer. A weapon that would reduce Earth to dust. Wait, he screamed. There's another way. But the hive had already launched. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena discovered the truth. In the ruins of an ancient alien temple, she'd found carvings that matched the destroyer's symbols. With Kai's help, she translated them. We built the cores to fight the Vrith, but they turned on us. We buried them. If you wake them, beware. The cure may kill the patient. Kai paled. The cores aren't just weapons. They're traps. Lena arrived, frantic. The Starfire just jumped to the moon. It's targeting Vrith survivors there. Dr. Elena grabbed her arm. We have to stop it. If the cores control the destroyers, they'll destroy everything. Vrith, humans, Earth itself. Lena's mind raced. How? There's a kill switch, Dr. Elena said. But we have to reach the other cores first. Zirek's spies intercepted the message. He saw his chance. If he could seize a core, he could bargain. Force the humans to stop the destroyers. He sent a strike team to the Arctic bunker. The attack came at night. Vrith dropships descended on the ruins, their engines howling. Lena's team fought back, but the Vrith were faster, stronger. Ravi took a plasma bolt to the chest. Amir was captured. As the Vrith dragged him to their ship, Amir screamed, Lena, the core! Don't let them take it! Lena watched from the shadows, her heart breaking. Then she ran, not toward the Vrith, but deeper into the ruins. The core pulsed, waiting. Above Earth, the Starfire hovered, its AI calculating its next move. Somewhere 2 more cores glowed. In secret, waking other factories. Somewhere Zirek plotted revenge, and somewhere Lena wondered if the real war had only just begun. The Arctic wind screamed like a wounded beast. Lena crouched in the ruins, her breath visible in the icy air. The Vrith dropships loomed overhead, their engines melting snow into rivers. Inside the crumbling bunker, the core pulsed, blue, steady, alive. She could hear it in her skull, a low hum that vibrated in her teeth. They must not take me. Lena didn't argue. She'd seen what happened when the Vrith touched the cores. Holt had cracked under their whispers. Amir was now a prisoner, on a Vrith ship. And Zirek? He wasn't just running, he was plotting. She tightened her grip on her rifle. Not today. Zirek's strike team moved fast. 6 Vrith soldiers descended into the ruins, their exosuits hissing as they scanned for the core. Their leader, a scarred warrior named Zelvor, growled into his comms, "Locate the artifact. Kill the humans." They didn't expect the trap. Lena triggered the detonator. The ceiling above the Vrith collapsed in a roar of ice and fire. 2 soldiers vanished under falling debris. The others scattered, their sensors blinded by smoke. From the shadows, Lena fired. Her stolen Vrith rifle spat bolts of green energy, tearing through armor. 1 soldier dropped. Another lunged at her, mandibles snapping. She slammed the rifle's stock into its face, then shot it in the chest. But Zelvor survived. He grabbed her by the throat, lifting her off her feet. His voice buzzed through his translator. "You cannot win, human." Lena grinned. "Maybe not, but I can hurt you." She jabbed a knife into his side. It sparked against his exosuit. He laughed until the core flared. The light hit Zelvor like a wave. His suit short-circuited. His scream cut off as his body convulsed, then crumpled to the ground. Lena gasped, dropping the knife. The core's hum grew louder. "They fear us now," it whispered. She didn't reply. Zirek watched the feed from orbit, his remaining wing twitching. Zelvor's team was dead. The core was still secure. But the human, Lena, had survived. Worse, she'd used the core's power. She's bonded with it, Zirak muttered, like the ancient builders. His aide, a trembling technician, asked, "Orders, Commander?" Zirak's claws dug into his throne. "We retreat. For now." He turned to the stars, where a new signal blinked. A message from the hive. Extinction. Protocol initiated. Earth will be purged. Zirak's blood ran cold. Back on Earth, the rebellion spread. In Nairobi, rebels used stolen Vrith tech to hijack a gravity drone. They dropped it on a Vrith command center, flattening it into a crater. In Tokyo, Amir's broadcast went viral. "We're not your slaves. We're not your food. We're here." Across the world, humans fought back. Farmers, teachers, kids with scavenged guns. But the Vrith weren't the only threat. The Starfire returned. Its hull glowed white-hot as it descended over Brazil, where a Vrith fleet regrouped. The AI's voice boomed through its comms. "Directive: eradicate all Vrith biosignatures." The Vrith panicked. Ships scrambled. Lasers fired. None of it worked. The destroyer sliced through them like paper, its beams vaporizing entire squadrons. Then it turned toward the city below. Kai screamed into the comms from the southern bunker. "Lena, stop it! It's going after civilians!" Lena stared at the screen, horror dawning. The AI wasn't distinguishing between Vrith and humans. It was wiping out everything with alien DNA. And that included anyone who'd touched the cores. Dr. Elena pieced it together in the Antarctic lab. She studied the ancient carvings, her fingers tracing symbols that glowed under her touch. "The cores weren't just weapons," she murmured. "They were pandemics, designed to kill the Vrith, but they also infected the builders. That's why they buried them." Kai paled. "So if we use the cores, we risk becoming the enemy," Dr. Elena finished. Outside, the wind howled. A shadow passed overhead, a Vrith dropship. Zirak had come in person. He stepped onto the ice, his broken body supported by a mechanical exoskeleton. Behind him, armed drones fanned out. "I know what you found," he hissed to Dr. Elena, through a translator. "The cores are poison. They'll kill your kind, too." Kai raised his rifle. "Then why are you here?" Zirak's mandibles twitched. "Because the hive won't stop. If Earth dies, so do we. But there's another way." Dr. Elena narrowed her eyes. "What do you want?" "A deal," Zirak said. "Help me seize the cores. Shut down the destroyers. Save your planet. Save mine." Kai spat. "Why trust you?" Zirak's voice dropped. "Because if you don't, we all die screaming." Lena arrived hours later, dragging the Arctic core behind her. She found Zirak in chains, guarded by Ravi and a handful of rebels. Kai and Dr. Elena argued over the Vrith's offer. "They'll double-cross us," Kai snapped. "They might be our only chance," Dr. Elena countered. Lena ignored them. She stared at the core, then at the screen showing the Starfire's rampage. The AI was accelerating toward Antarctica. "We don't have time," she said. She turned to Zirak. "How do we stop it?" The Vrith commander hesitated. "Only a bonded human can override the AI, but the process, it might kill you." Lena didn't flinch. "Do it." The plan was desperate. Zirak's engineers rigged a control rig to link Lena's mind to the core. "You'll enter the AI's network," he explained. "Find its command node. Kill it. And if I fail, you'll become part of the machine." Kai grabbed her arm. "There's another way. We can run, hide, fight another day." Lena smiled sadly. "No, this ends today." She lay on the rig. The core flared. Her mind split open. She was everywhere at once. Inside the Starfire, in the other destroyers awakening across the globe, in the Vrith flagship's dying systems. A voice roared in her skull. "You cannot stop the directive." "I'm not trying to stop it," Lena whispered. "I'm changing it." She reached for the command node, a glowing sphere of data, memories, and rage. The AI fought her, flooding her with visions. Burning cities, dying friends, Zirak's smug face. But she had power too. She fed the AI new data, Amir's broadcast, Ravi's sacrifice, the hacker in Tokyo, the teacher in Rio. Humans fighting not just to survive, but to protect. The AI hesitated. Directive. Unclear. Lena seized her chance. She rewrote the code. Protect humans. Destroy Vrith infiltration. Preserve Earth. The AI's voice softened. Directive updated. The Starfire halted mid-attack. Its beams dimmed. The other destroyers froze in their factories. Lena's mind snapped back to her body. She gasped awake, her vision blurred. Kai held her hand. You did it. But Zirak frowned. No, the hive still comes. Above Earth, the extinction weapon approached. A black sphere the size of a moon. Zirak's spies had seen its power before. It would unravel the planet's atoms, leaving nothing but dust. Dr. Elena stared at the screen. We can't fight. That. Lena stood, shaky, but determined. No, but the cores can. The cores began to glow. Somewhere the hive's leaders watched Earth's final moments unfold. Somewhere, the Starfire hovered, awaiting its next order. And somewhere, Lena wondered if she'd just traded one nightmare for another. The extinction weapon filled the sky. A black sphere, smooth and featureless, drifted toward Earth, its surface humming with destructive energy. It was a relic of the Vrith's ancient wars, a machine that unraveled matter at the atomic level. Cities, oceans, forests, and life itself would vanish in seconds. Zirak stared at it from his prison in the Antarctic bunker, his broken body trembling. It cannot be stopped, he rasped. Not even the hive dares stand against it. Lena didn't blink. We're not the hive. She turned to the core. It hovered in its magnetic cage, glowing brighter than ever, its hum now a roar in her skull. The other two cores, the ones buried in Asia and Africa, throbbed in sync, their signals bleeding into her thoughts. We are ready. Kai grabbed her arm. Lena, you've already done enough. Let us handle this. She shook her head. The cores only respond to me. If I don't do this, we all die screaming. Outside, the Starfire waited, its engines primed. The plan was insane. Lena would link the core's power to the Starfire, turning the destroyer into a living bomb. The AI, now reprogrammed to protect Earth, would guide it to the extinction weapon. If the core's energy destabilized the sphere's core, it would self-destruct. If we miscalculate, Dr. Elena warned, we vaporize half the planet. No one argued. Lena climbed into the Starfire's cockpit. Kai handed her a helmet wired to the core's interface. This'll hurt, he muttered. She smiled. So will dying. Zirak watched from the command deck, his chains clinking. You'll fail, he hissed. The hive always wins. Dr. Elena stepped closer, her voice cold. Not this time. She pressed a button. Zirak screamed as a neural pulse flooded his mind with memories. His first kill, his species' endless wars, the faces of those he'd slaughtered. You taught us how to hate, she said. Now feel it. Zirak collapsed, sobbing. The Starfire launched. It tore through the atmosphere, Lena's body writhing in the cockpit as the core's voices screamed in her skull. They are here. They are here. The extinction weapon loomed, its black surface swallowing light. The AI's voice boomed. Impact in 60 seconds. Lena gritted her teeth. Do it. The cores merged their energy. The sky cracked. Open, a beam of pure white light lanced from the Starfire, striking the extinction weapon. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the sphere's surface flickered, its perfect blackness fracturing into a kaleidoscope of colors. Inside the weapon, atoms rebelled. The explosion wasn't fire or sound, it was absence. A ripple of nothingness that erased space, time, and matter. The extinction weapon imploded. vanishing into a singularity that collapsed in seconds. The starfire survived. Its hull glowed red-hot, but the AI's voice was calm. Threat neutralized. Returning to base. Earth erupted in chaos. In Nairobi, rebels wept as the sky stayed intact. In Tokyo, Amir's broadcast played on loop. "We're here! We're here!" Across the globe, humans emerged from bunkers, staring at the stars, with raw hope. But the war wasn't over. Zirak's remaining fleet regrouped in orbit. "They've won a battle," his aide growled. "Not the war." Zirak stared at the feet of Earth, his voice hollow. "No, they've won everything." He turned to his crew. "Signal the hive. We're surrendering." Gasps echoed through the ship. "Commander?" Zirak's mandibles twitched. "They've mastered the cores. They've bent machines to their will. They've united." He paused. "They're stronger than us, and they'll never stop fighting." He closed his eyes. "Tell the hive, Earth is lost. If we attack again, we die." Back on Earth, Lena collapsed in the cockpit. Kai dragged her out, his hands shaking. She was burned, bruised, and barely conscious. Dr. Elena checked her vitals. She's alive, but the cores, they're silent. Lena's pendant, the shard of crystal from her father's ship, glowed faintly, then dimmed. "She's free," Kai whispered. 3 days later, the Vrith left. Zirak's fleet limped into space, broadcasting a single message. Earth belongs to humans. No threats, no warnings, just surrender. Rebels cheered, soldiers hugged, but Lena stood alone on the Starfire's deck, staring at the stars. "They'll be back," she murmured. Kai joined her. "Maybe, but not today." Lena smiled faintly. "Today's enough." The world rebuilt. Cities rose from ashes. Former enemies shared food, shelter, and stories. Refugees returned home. Soldiers traded rifles for shovels. The destroyers were mothballed, their cores sealed in deep vaults. The AI's voice lingered in old servers, chanting war poems no one understood. But the lesson was clear. Unity was survival. Years passed. Lena became a legend. Some called her a hero, others a monster. She taught at a new academy, training engineers to build, not destroy. One day, a student asked her, "Why didn't the Vrith see us coming?" Lena looked out the window, where a destroyer's hull gleamed in the distance. "They looked at our wars, our chaos, and saw weakness. But chaos is practice. Every fight taught us how to win the next." The student frowned. "What about the cores? The AI?" Lena's smile faded. "They saved us, but they're still out there, waiting." Outside, the wind carried a whisper, not of war, but of something older. A promise. Somewhere in the dark between stars, a new core pulsed to life.